Okay, perfect. Hey. Hey. How you doing? Hey Angie, hey girl, how you been? I'm gonna text you when I get off. Good, glad to hear. Hey Janine, I'm good. How you doing? Oops. What's up? Hey boo. Ascension of consciousness. How you doing? Good morning. Hey Third Eye. Hey, is it Tanisha or Tanisha? Hey. Hey Darnell. A2442. Hey. Good. Glad to hear. All right, let's get into this read. Hey Empress Virgo, how you doing? All right, so let's get into this read. Welcome back to my channel. This is Adana, also known as the Afrozine. It's a reading for the beautiful handsome collective. Hello, collective. How you doing? Get y'all some flowers, 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 flowers. Flowers, flowers, flowers. One more time. Flowers, flowers, flowers. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Hit that notification bell to book a private reading with me or to shop in my store. All that information is in the description box below. Hey, Sha. Hey, Shaban. How you doing? All right. So, channel message here is they're blaming the leader for their downfall. Okay. All right. So the people that have crossed you, take it how it resonates in your story, okay, from your perspective. But the individuals here that have really thought that they crossed you here, they're looking to their leader for some form of they want to be alleviated from all that's going on here. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to be too, it's, it's funny here. Um, they're realizing the person that has put them up to this foolishness towards you here, as I mentioned before, is sick. And I feel like it's a very strong reality that is starting to really sink in or set in for them, because they're wanting to know like if things are going to happen towards them in regards to like their health here. So they're trying to like spin the block here and trying to see if they can reverse the things that they have done towards you, whether it's a physical thing, an emotional thing, a spiritual thing, financial thing, however it resonates here. They were okay, they were on board initially to cause some form of, we'll just say, chaos in your world and your reality here, because they thought that they would have gotten away with it. That's truly the reason why most people do what they do here, is because they feel that, number one, they're invincible, number two, that their lies will never be exposed, and number three, they believe their lies so much that they actually think it's the actual truth. So they actually live in their delusions, and they need other people to solidify or to confirm their delusions by also being a part of their delusion as well too. They don't like the fact that you're able to break free or just more so shatter their delusions actually, or their illusions, but it's both. They go hand in hand here. And the reason being here is because it's their place of, number one, where they feel comfortable with the conformity. See, and this is from my own perspective and research of things. When you are dealing with, or when I'm dealing with individuals within society here, I realize that some circumstances that they may go through here, more so from the negative side, because from my experience, I've met a lot of negative individuals here, and it really helped me to transmute that information into something positive. So I learned a lot from people that do, you know, darker things, because it makes me dive deep and to more so understand and more so dissect as to why they do the things that they do. But anywho, with that being said here, they felt comfortable in their evilness, or they felt very comfortable in their darkness here. Okay, their darkness represents the truth as to who they truly are. All right. But they're not able to handle. So it's really funny because they can handle it when it's like behind closed doors where no one else can see it. But the moment it's exhibited for many more people or more eyes that are on them here is a moment where they start to become very panicky, or they start to more so dwindle in this so-called self-imposed imprisonment, because that's what's happening here. They're in the self-imposed imprisonment of self here, but more so within their mind and their emotions. They're not really able to differentiate for what is really real versus what's not real here. And as I mentioned before, a person that has been living in delusion or a delusional state for a very, very, very long time, no matter what you say towards them, no matter even if you attempt to shift or try to shift or attempt to shift or to show them a different way of doing something, they're not going to be strong enough to understand or comprehend whatever that thing is that you're trying to show them in a different way. Okay. Hey, hello, good morning. So is literally you were fighting amongst or against a group of people that were very delusional that they could hurt you, delusional that they can cause some form of harm to you, delusional that they felt that they had complete control and reign over your finances, delusional over the fact that they think that they can shift the way you perceive things or how you live life. 100% everything that they have done since day one has been screaming nothing but delusion or delusionism, if that's a word, not shit. So since that delusion has since popped, or their bubble has popped, so that's why I was saying, most people that live in a form of delusion, and more so speaking about it from a negative aspect, and I want to bring it into a positive aspect here, is that they conform to the delusion that they created for themselves. I want to look up the etymology of the word conform really quickly, because I know there's pretty different, you know, definitions, but I want to break it down real quick. Let me see something. So to conform is to be obedient, or to make or be similar, to be agreeable, to fashion, to form, to shape. Okay, so I did look at it that way. I was going to say the way that they conform their reality is more so the way that they molded themselves, or mold in a way where they wanted it to play out in a certain way. It's like Play-Doh, right? You have a little cup or whatever you call a little bottle of Play-Doh, and you take it out, and Play-Doh is very pliable. You can change it, you can conform it, you can do whatever it is that you want. You can roll it, you can, however way you want that Play-Doh to work for you, can manipulate it. And I feel like with their delusion here, they really capitalize off of them. Play-Doh is a fake thing, it's not a real thing, it's putty, right? And this is what they had, or this is how they perceive things, more so with a very low mindset, or very putty. That makes sense, because the way they think is it just doesn't make sense. So metaphorically or figuratively speaking, they have this Play-Doh here, and they're trying to conform it. They're trying to manipulate it in a way to where that when it's time for it to be exhibit in a certain way or show up in a certain way, that's how they want you to see, if that makes sense. So again, conform is to, hold on, it is to, yeah, to fashion, to form, to shape, to educate, and to modify. And they were trying to modify your perspective towards their delusion, not against their delusion, towards their delusion. They knew that you would have been against it if they would have just, show their hands since day one. But since they wanted to mold it in a certain way, it had to take time for you to be able to, or for them to be able to get you to come towards them, and to more so to confirm the delusions that they want to be true or reality. That makes sense. So with that being said, they're blaming the leader for their downfall. When I say leader could be a mom, dad, brother, sister, co-worker, a friend, whoever, ex-lover, ex-spouse, however, a coworker, a boss, a manager, however it resonates in your story here. They're blaming that person for their downfall here. So yes, somebody says that brainwashing. Absolutely, that's, yeah, that 100%. Yes, that is brainwashing. Yeah, again, look at a Play-Doh. You're manipulating it in a certain type of way, or a certain type of, what is this? You're manipulating the ball in a certain type of way, so that way, once you're finished with molding it in a way that that person will see it in that way. So for instance, I use a little child as an example. Let's say a baby's just a toddler just learning how to play with Play-Doh, and you want to mold the Play-Doh in the shape of a duck. So once you finish molding it and you place it down in front of the toddler and you ask the toddler what it is, the toddler could say something different. That's a cow. And you were like, no, I made a duck. But the toddler is telling you very, very, very adamant in regards to how they perceive the perception of the mold that you created for them. And they keep telling you something different, something along those lines there. But all in all here, that's what they did. This leader here really did brainwash them, or shifted this, we'll call them the minions here. Yeah, look. Well, this is not the minions. This is a what's his name? I forget his name. Cartman. But I believe Cartman did have a group of South Park. I don't watch South Park. I only know of South Park. I don't think I've maybe I only watched like maybe one episode, but it's not really my thing. So I don't know all the characters and things of that nature. But I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I do believe Cartman did have like a crew or something like that, or he was a troublemaker, I believe. But again, so all in all, they're blaming this person for their downfall because things are crashing, being destroyed in their reality here. And they feel like, they feel duped that they weren't aware that it would have gotten this far. But yet again, they weren't aware that it would have gotten this far because they've been doing things like this for a very long time. So yet again, when someone has conformed to a delusion, or their delusion here, it's going to be very hard for them to break out of that unless the truth is right in front of their face, if that makes sense. So they feel very tricked. They feel like that they have wasted valuable time of themselves, valuable time of their energy, valuable time of their life here, and they're trying to get that back. But how can they get back what they actually lost? I mean, they're the one that placed it up they're the one that gambled with the risk of themselves. They did it. And they didn't ask any questions as they lost themselves in the midst of all that they've done here. They never asked the right questions, or maybe they felt there were no questions that need to be asked because full is here. They felt very full, or full with glee, when they wanted you to go through many, many different changes. Oh yeah, they were very gleeful. They were filled with glee. But Spirit had other options for you. Spirit was like, hell nah, not this one. Not the Divine Collective. Imagine a person, because I feel like, for if it resonates, someone doesn't believe in like a higher source, a higher power, and that's fine. I'm going to break it down in two ways, because remember, there's a good side to everything and there's a negative side to everything. I have actually communicated with individuals that are atheists, that are on the good side or on the better side of things, meaning just because they don't believe in a higher source, a higher spirit, they're still a good spirited person. They're still a genuine person. They're still a respectful person. You know what I mean? Versus an atheist on the opposite side, the darker side of things, that don't believe in anything, but yet they're still wanting to play God in other people's lives. This is specifically who I'm speaking about, from that side or that spectrum here. And they thought that they can play God in your life, but how they going to play God when they don't even know God? That doesn't make sense. Or universe or spirits, or however it resonates here. They're not willing to accept the changes that they're currently going through. They can't accept it. Hey, Carlo. They're not willing to accept these changes at all. Like they're refusing it. And the more that they refuse it, the harsher it becomes. See, when a person, generally speaking, when you refuse to go with the flow, you're going to have a lot of abrasions going against the flow. And I highly recommend for you guys not to go against the flow of things. Going against the flow of things will create some kind of a friction or some kind of a clash. And they are clashing with the idea or clashing with the identity or clashing with the reality that the things that they thought was right for them to do is not. That's why things are rapidly changing for them, because they refuse to accept the change for what it is. The change is what it is. It's the truth. You need truth to change, right? You need truth to trigger change. And if you're speaking truth, or you are the truth, or you operating in truth here, and other people that surround you or are around you here are seeing that you are changing or shifting in a way, it can put people at a very, unsettling position or phase, because they're not able to grasp the changes that you are going through. That makes sense. And that can be spun in many different ways. They refuse to change their perspective. So because they refuse, they feel stuck. How do you get out of that? Change the perception. They can't change it because they don't know how to, number one. Number two, they might be afraid to change the perception, because most people that are doing negative things or frivolous or harmful things here that are afraid of change, they are afraid that something worse is going to come. They don't see the way that their mind is already programmed or conditioned to be, is that if any change come whatsoever, they automatically assume the worst. And that's what they receive. So since they keep receiving the worst of things, they might as well just stay in that situation that continues to become the worst of things. Does that make sense? It'll never change. So by you changing the trajectory and going off on a different path, the path less traveled here, it puts you in a position where you're able to see the actual change, not only in yourself, but those individuals too. You realize at once, or while you're changing or in the middle of a shift or change here, that they stayed the same, but it still showed you, it changed your perspective, even though they still stayed the same. It still showed you a different perspective in regards to change or shift. Does that make sense? Hopefully I said that correctly. You're shifting, you're changing, yes, while they're staying the same. And as you're still changing and shifting, you're still able to see the changes in the stagnancy that they refuse to change. Does that make sense? Like you're able to see it from a higher perspective or from a different scope of things, and it allows you to see that they refuse to change. But that's not a you issue, that's a them issue. Yes, look, see. Now they're being seen in a way that they never thought that they could. So yes, that's deep. Do you want me to explain it further? Because I can. Let me know if you want more clarification, because I'll break it down further for you, okay? But the changes that they refuse to shift has been seen. Okay. The changes that they refuse to shift has been seen, despite them refusing to change it. Yes, finally. So the more that you elevated, the more that you evolved here, is a moment that people see them in the stagnancy that they continue to be in here. And it's like, finally, if that makes sense. So the only person that they can actually, or the one that they're trying to place blame on, is the person, or is the individual or the group leader here that thought that it would be in their best interest to do, wicked things towards you here, and it failed. They feel duped. You're the only one that went down the rabbit hole, or you did something different because of the questions that you had. And anytime you would ask questions, whether it's an actual conversation with questions or just by yourself, you're sitting down and you're reflecting, but you're asking questions as you're reflecting here. It puts you in a position where you were able to actually be in a rabbit hole, and rabbit hole changes things as well too. That can be spun in many different ways. But with Toy, okay, the questions that you had were the questions that they did not want to answer. Either they didn't want to answer or they didn't know how to answer. Okay, asking questions also changes things, shifts things. It depends on the type of question that you ask, but it can actually, it can shift things, but the type of questions that you were asking, or the type of perception that you were starting to delve into, or more so resonate with, they didn't understand it. So it put them in a position where it triggered them because they couldn't understand where you were coming from. That's how things change when it comes to a person. It starts with a question. It really do. That's why I always say question everything. You have every right to question everything. That don't make sense. Can you say that again? Can you repeat? And sometimes repeat what they said to you back to them to understand. But okay, so I'm gonna repeat what you said. I just want to make sure we make this clear. We got this clear. So you said ABC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they were like, no, I said 7, 8, 9, X O R T H B. You know what I mean? You were like, now it makes sense, Alpha. The ball is in your court. The ball is in your court because of it. We have true. Yes. Yes. True. And then move, because you're on point. Okay, we have moving because of the shift or changes that you made within yourself. And then you have on point. You're on points with everything, or you're on points in regards to what may have transpired in your life, your point of view, your reality, your experience, your perception, however that resonates. Hey, Timothy. Yes. So, wow. Okay. Their eyes tell on them. Their eyes tell on them. This is the absolute truth. Could be a father figure here. Take it how it resonates. Okay. But their eyes telling them a lot. They say that the eyes are the window to the soul. Yes. These individuals may love to wear glasses, or may have like tinted glasses. You know how some of us may have actual glasses to drive and to read and things of that nature, but sometimes the actual lens could be tinted. Like, these are the type of individuals that may have those type of glasses. Strong father figure here, though. They didn't want you to know what their eyes showed up as. Paranoia, inconsistency, uncertainness or uncertainty, a lot of shoulda, coulda, wouldas, I'm hearing it's written all over your face. You don't have to say your words on here. Oh, man. Oh, that's funny. Man. So, however that resonates. Or this could have been an important man in your life: father, brother, uncle, cousin, grandfather, ex-spouse, ex-lover, co-worker, manager, best friend, however it resonates. It could have been, it strongly feels like a man was leading a group of people down a path of destruction. Could be a group of women. It could be a mixture, or it could be a group of men, however it resonates. But there's a father figure here, father energy, that's very militant in the way that they do things. It's their way or the highway. And that could be another reason why they felt that it was their duty to carry this out as well too. Many different reasons, of course. This masculine energy or father energy here may have the gift of gab. They know what to say, how to say it. But even though they know how to say and what to say, you can still find holes in what they're saying. Just because somebody is a slickster when it comes to their words doesn't mean that they are going to be able to get away with being very sly or slick with their words. You can still trip somebody up despite them being very slick. Yes, you can. Rest is in reverse. They can't rest. This father figure here can't rest because they're looking at themselves in the mirror and they don't like what they see. Again, they are not happy with the changes. They don't like changes, and that could be spun in many different ways. Their body is changing. They don't like that. The whole scenario or experience or situation is shifting for them. Things that they normally did before that they can't do now is shifting. They refuse to accept the change for what it is. So because they refuse to accept the change for what it is, it's creating a huge friction against the change that they refuse to see happen. But you, on the other hand, you saw what happened. You made a difference. You made a shift or a change. So now you're able to shift out of that situation, which is granting you even bigger and better opportunities, opulent, abundant opportunities that not only are you going to see, but they're going to see as well. And while you're shifting and while you continue to shift here, it's still putting these individuals in a position where they can't understand or they can't wrap their mind around the shift or the change that they refuse to go in the flow with. Does that make sense? So when you meet these type of individuals in this nature, you have to leave them alone. Because your shift or your change is very different, very dynamic, and I'll put it in this way, very profound, because y'all got stuff to do. You're here to be very purposeful in whatever it is that you're trying to do in your life. You're here to make a difference. You're here to be positive, whatever it is that you're trying to do for yourself. That makes sense? And you can't be around individuals here that has a mindset or perspective or a limited perspective in this way here that can actually limit your shift or change, if that makes sense. Like I mentioned to you guys before, seeing is believing. We'll take this confirmation. Shh. Hey. So what I was going to say, I lost my train of thought. Yes, seeing is believing. Okay. They have to see it to believe it. And now they're actually seeing it. They can't believe it. You see where it kind of clashes with them? They have to see things to believe things, but their way of seeing things is very low vibrational, or the perspective is very, very, very low. It's very dank. It's very meek, okay? They can't really see anything. But the moment that they get a new pair of eyes or a new point of view or new perspective here and they see things, they're seeing the thing here. They can't believe what they're seeing. So again, that goes back to changes that they refuse to acknowledge. So this is the reason why they are hurting themselves in this way, because they refuse to accept the change for what it is and to go with the flow of the shift. It is what it is. It's like a train wreck. Hey, it's like a train wreck. Oh man. Okay, we have dog here. Okay. What does dog represent? We have cup. With the dog is confirmation. Of course. They want to keep drinking from a cup that cannot be refilled. Okay. Okay, I'll put it in that way. It's like, okay, thank you. I'll put it in that way. So it's like having a cup for a very long time. We all have a favorite cup, I'm sure, that we drink out of, right? This is just hypothetically speaking. And let's just say that you had that cup for years after wear and tear, and you know, the more you use it, the more it's going, you're going to see it becomes obsolete over time, meaning to the point where you're going to have to shift or change it out, if that makes sense. But with them, they kept having this cup, and this cup was dirty inside, figuratively speaking. It was very dirty inside. It wasn't clean. They just kept pouring things inside of it, and every time they would pour whatever, let's just say water in this instance here, every time they would pour into the cup, it was always leaving them. There was always holes within the cup here, and they were trying to salvage everything that they keep losing. But yet again, they refuse to shift with the change. So this is why they're in the predicament that they're in, and they feel like they got because they were willing and open and very eager to listen to what other people have to say with asking the actual questions or asking questions in general, period. Again, in order for something to shift for you, or in order for something to be triggered to shift for you, you must or you should ask questions. Yes, ask questions. That is the beginning of a shift of things, depending on the question too. Because if you ask a certain question, it depends on the answer. It could give you a shift or a change, but in which manner? In a positive way or a negative way? And y'all gonna have to take that how you need to take that. But with this cup here, this is why they kept trying to pour from an empty cup. But since their cup was empty, they were trying to use other people's cup or to latch on to other people's cup to benefit from the fulfillment, or we'll just say the greatness of what you carry within yourself. The more you're connected to self, the more plentiful you'll become, or the more plentiful you'll be. And they knew this. They knew this 100%, which is why they have to come together to do foolish things in this nature here. They were together with a group of individuals that had the same mindset of not changing or shifting. Don't y'all think that's not a recipe for disaster? A group of individuals with the same type of mentality or mindset from a lower aspect of things, to me, that's a recipe for disaster. So they stand together, they gotta fall together. Can y'all hear me on Instagram? Yeah. They stand together, now they gotta fall together. But they don't want to fall together. They just want the person who they thought they can trust or believe to do foolish things towards you here. They want that person to completely take everything, take the blame for everything. No, that's not how this works. That's not how this works. Yeah, okay. It's like, what? Like, what are you talking about? What? Wait. What do you mean I'm going to get in trouble? What? They don't understand that there's consequences to their actions. And I could put it speaking universally as well, as above, so below. Whatever you give your energy to, there's going to be an outcome for that. Or every action has a reaction. That I can break it down in many different ways. Now they're looking at each other like, what? What's going on? What? My goodness, child. I think the biggest issue with society from a general standpoint of things, the issue here is that they are afraid that people do see them change or shift. Whether it's maybe, I wouldn't even say positive way, more so a negative way. So they have to put on this mask, or they have to parade themselves as a certain type of way here, so that way they can feel comfortable in not changing. But the moment that they see someone like you decide to shift and change you know, things for the greater for yourself here, they become very threatened by it. Threatened to the point that they're willing to make sure that you're not able to shift or change because they can't do it. And I think that's so sad. Oh, let's see what else, Spirit. Yeah. Right now, the most important time right now is you being you. Whoever you are, however you are, authentically. Whatever your truth is. And yet again, you're going to see the ones who are actually living in their truth versus the ones that have not been. Just the ones that keep saying that they've been speaking the truth. If you're speaking the truth, you're going to be the truth. You're going to talk the truth. You're going to walk the truth. You're going to be really completely 100% raw and authentic if you are doing those things when it comes to truth. Versus someone that keeps speaking, just speaking the truth, but there's no actions or there's no evidence that the truth that they speak, it doesn't show up, if that makes sense. Truth can be shown up in many different ways, or truth shows up in many different forms, many different ways, many different methods. And I think that's what they were missing here. I think they felt that truth can only come in one way. And they rode that wave because they really thought that their lies would have outweighed the truth. Okay, now look at them. Okay. My favorite saying moving forward. Okay. Whatever. Yeah, now it's revealed. Could be a mother figure. Moon represents mom. Fourth house represents family. Could be family, however it resonates. Yeah, that's a chakra to them. They can't do what you do, which is be the truth of who you are. They want to be the truth of who you are. No, absolutely not. No, ma'am, and no, sir. No. Why do you want to be the truth of what another person is or are? That makes sense. That's not authenticness. It's not. This is why they didn't want you to shift, because they keep trying to be you, but they can't be you if you keep shifting and changing and evolving all the time. It'll make someone very upset. Shoot, even sick. Triggered. Apple is here. Health is in reverse. That's true power that's coming from within. That's showing up and shifting in ways that even you may not have thought that you could shift or change in a positive way. And even them seeing and viewing you shift in a very positive way. They can't handle it. That's why for some, not some, when you are successful or when you're doing things successful for yourself, this is why some people can't handle your success, because they can't handle the changes that they refuse to make. So they want to penalize you for something that they can't do. Why is that your fault? And why should you be reprimanded or have consequences because they can't do something that you can do? Change. Make it make sense. Because yet again, they don't make sense. How they going to match something that they don't have? So Timothy says on YouTube, they trying to match the inner G, inner God within self. Well, how they going to match if they don't have it? You can't match something that you don't have. A match is a pair, right? You need two things to match, right? Two things to come together to pair. Well, how they going to try to come towards you and pair with you when y'all not on the same frequency, the same vibration, the same point of view, the same perspective? How is that going to work? It's always going to clash. Yet again, one is trying to shift and change for betterment, and one refuses to shift or change. So how is that going to work? That's what they're not seeing. That's what they're not seeing at all. As I mentioned before, I've been seeing a lot of cases of women being hurt and harmed. Men too, but mostly it's been women, okay? That has been hurt and harmed for just trying to leave or to diffuse or to disconnect from a situation, a relationship, and things of that nature. And the main issue, the main cause that some of these individuals become so hurtful and harmful and cause harm to another person is because they can't face the change. The change is too triggering for them. Because if they decide to change, they would have to stop lying. They would have to face all of the things that they have done. And most people can't do that, which is why you can't be around individuals in this way. Thank you for the gifts. They prefer negativity to spread than positivity. That's what they prefer. Captain Planet even said the power is yours, literally and figuratively. And every time Captain Planet would call upon the Planeteers, I believe they were the Planeteers. It was heart, earth, wind, and fire. With our powers combined, I am Captain Planet. They had to use a little piece of them, heart, earth, wind, and fire, and those were their strong points or their strong elements to make a difference in the world, because they were there. The show was created to, you know, in good practices to like make sure the earth is clean, and you know, it was a good show. It was very educational in a positive way, if that makes sense. So what? Who cares? They're still doing harm to the collective. Okay, let them be. Why are you worried about what they're doing? Who cares? The more attention you give to something, the more it's going to grow. What are you stopping to stop the harm? That's the real question. We can't just talk about things and then there's no action behind the things that we speak about. What's the action behind it? Okay, they're still doing this, they're still doing that. Well, what's the option to shift? We're in the shifting stage right now. That's what we in. What we doing differently? That's my question. Of course they're going to keep doing it because they think they can get away with it. But how can that stop if there's no shift or change? They're hurting people for just shifting or changing. It's triggering to them. And yet again, a person who don't have anything, they're willing to lose everything. A person who don't have anything is willing to lose everything. And that's the predicament or situation that they place themselves in. They're the one that's afraid of your change. Not the other way around. Why in the hell would you be afraid of somebody that don't have anything? No substance of self, no respect of self, no authenticity of self. They have nothing of self. So who am I to afraid this person who don't have anything, don't even have an identity of self? For what reason? That one ain't making sense to me. They're the one that is always quick to leap, and they don't know where they're landing. They just see a person, just, I'm just going to leap on you. Okay. And when they leap, they fall. When every time they leap, they always fall, child. And that's what's happening here. They tried to leap towards you, which was the wrong person to do. And yeah, they didn't watch where they leaped. And they can't catch their footing, or they can't get their footing. story is in reverse. See, the story is not sticking because the story has shifted. You are the story. You're the main character in your reality. You are. That's what they did not want you to realize or to comprehend or to understand, that you are the main character in your story. And they had to keep a certain story in order for you to not grow, shift, or change. Does it make sense? Now look at them. They're still stuck in the same redundant story, and you shifted it. You shifted the narrative. Now people can see, oh, wow, now I see both sides. Now everything is coming full circle. Now everything makes sense. And these are individuals that keep saying they know what they're doing. These are the type of individuals that keep saying that they're smarter than you. Okay, little buddy. Okay. Oh, okay. We got subconscious in reverse. That's why I'm going to keep saying it. That's why I'd rather laugh at them than hurt them, because this is comical as hell. Very comical. So, loss, of course. What did they expect? Yes, they're losing things because they refuse to get with the program, to go with the flow of things. They can't go with the flow of things because their lie stops their flow. Does that make sense? The truth, yeah, you gonna flow. It's going, yeah, and yep, and I know this and I understand this and yep, da-da-da. Yeah, when you have the truth, you gonna flow. Lies, it stops. It makes you stagnant. It makes you still. There's obstacles. And to the point where if you continue to sit in lies, you can actually become obsolete from the lies that you keep speaking of. And that can be spun in many different ways. I got this t-shirt from Walmart in the men's department. Yeah. Because I feel that the men be having more of the expressive t-shirts, and I like expressive t-shirts. So yeah, I got it from the men's department in Walmart. Thank you. So there's like they're going fast to nowhere with endurance. They lost their step. So instead of them taking blame for what they've done, they rather push or project the blame onto others, and that's not the right thing to do either. It's not. But hey, what do we know? The lantern is here. Oh man, let me switch out decks, child. Oh goodness gracious, where's my other deck? Okay, I'll use this one. Tell me more about this lantern, please. They cannot support the lies that they spoke. They can't. They were an actual lie. Does that make sense? Meaning their physical aspect of self, the self of self, who they represent as self, was false. So anything that they do is going to represent that, or they're going to resonate with that, if that makes sense. Which is why when you spoke the truth numerous times to individuals that can't handle the truth, clearly they're not going to be able to handle it because they don't know what truth is. If they don't know who they are of self, and they have to mimic and emulate other people just to act like as if they are truthful, then it's going to clash. It don't make sense. Energy drain. Energy drain. Which is the reason why, because they can't do what you do. So if they come around you here, they are more susceptible or more open to draining you because they can't do what you do without you. That makes sense. Shadow side. So they start to sit in their shadow side here. So that way you can't see what they're trying to do towards you. Then we have humiliation. Now they feel humiliated by the lies that they spoke, the lies of self, the lies that they portray as truth, the real inauthentic parts of them or aspects of them is inauthenticity. But that's them authentically. If that makes sense, that's the actual truth of them. They're a liar. All they do is lie. They do lying things, but that's their true nature. So to be honest, they're the one that humiliated themselves. External influence came from people that thought like them, that perceived like them, that weren't open to changes or shifts like them. So they all came together externally to influence one another to destroy themselves, because that's what they did. They destroyed themselves. You were the right but wrong person to come for. Oh man. Will they ever get it? Next time on Dragon Ball Z. Isn't that how Dragon Ball Z went off? That is a big behind shirt. What they trying to think I'm a big one? I'm not a big one, but look, I got my foul front shirt. Yes. Okay, I got my foul front shirt. This gonna be a 90. Golly. Foul front. It is a noun, okay? It is a stinky, petty person who argues for no reason, ruins good vibes, and always loses, but still acts like they've won. Total bad air energy. Yes, this is my shirt. Yes, you know I call them the foul fronters. Yeah, so make sure you get your foul front t-shirts, okay? Yes, I wear my own stuff. Oh man. To be honest here, it's funny because the tables have turned, right? And Naive is here. They thought or assumed that you were naive, but if you're able to actually look at it from a different perspective, would you consider them to be the naive one? Naive to the point here that they truly didn't know who you were or who you were connected to, if that makes sense. Yeah, I look at naivete in a different way now, in a different perspective. When it comes to narcissistic individuals here, they don't know what they're doing, man. They don't. They don't. They don't. I strongly feel that they're the ones that's naive. Who can't see their future self. They can't see their future self. They refuse to. And that's the reality check that they needed. Checkmate. Look. Challenges. Oh, man. They were challenged, or their reality challenged them in a way that they weren't ready for. The change. They weren't ready for it. Perspective is in reverse. They weren't ready for it. So if they're not ready for your change, but yet they're still trying to move or trying to emulate you as you're shifting, that's going to trigger them. Like, make this make sense. All they had were bad illusions and bad advice. That's what they get. I don't feel sorry. That's what they get, y'all. Social conditioning. Social conditioning of the bad advice that they received because of external influence that they perceived was correct or right. I'm trying to put into words to kind of break it down for you guys. So when it comes to social conditioning, and you see, let's say there's two groups of individuals on one side. On one side, you see social conditioning happening within this group. Oh, you shouldn't do that. No, you shouldn't wear that. No, you shouldn't this. You shouldn't that. And over time, everyone eventually is going to conform to that person's one idea. Versus on the other side of the group here, there's a social gathering, but there's no conditioning. Everyone is different. Everyone is unique. Everyone is authentic in their own right, and everyone accepts it for what it is. So the group actually not only learn from one another, but they also grow as well as they're learning from one another. On the other side, everyone, or that other, the first group, they want to conform, or the main idea or outcome is to conform everybody to one thing, one ideology, one think piece. You're not allowed to think outside the box. You're not allowed to do things for yourself. You need permission for this. You need permission for that. You know what I mean? And that's not the side you want to live on. It's not. So they want to oppress you to be in that side, and that's not fair to you. Like, who the fuck are you to tell me how to do something or live life the way I want to live life? Nah, that ain't gonna work, little dog. It's just not. That ain't gonna work at all. Yeah, insincere. Yep, they want you a part of their delusions of falseness or falsehood. Well, such and such do it that way. I don't give a damn. Such and such do it. I don't give a damn. I don't care. Why are you telling me how such and such do? I don't care. Well, let them do how they do, but I'm going to do how I do. And they get mad at you for saying stuff like that. Like, you want me to be delulu like you? Negative. I don't. Unseen. And they feel, oh, it's obligated for you to. No, it's not. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. Fear of power is here. This is where they fear of you consistently growing. They want to be you, but they can't keep up. So because they can't keep up with you, they got to put obstacles and challenges in your way. Negative. That won't be good either. That won't work either. How in the world you want to come up against someone that is truthful of self? And then when that person that they're trying to come up, i.e. you, here, as the truth, and you showed them the truth to their lies. Oh my God, why would you? And I didn't know. And come on. Why are you coming up against or after someone that's going to speak truth in your face or show you the truth to whatever the situation is at the time? Come on. Make it make sense. They don't make sense. So they lost faith in the lies that they thought was such the truth, and it was not. It could never be. A lie could never, ever, ever be a truth. I don't care how cute or how nice it look. It's still a lie. It would never be the truth. It could never be the truth because the truth is what it is. You can make a lie to be whatever you want, but the truth, you can't do that. And that's what they're struggling with. The truth of everything. Themselves, people, the situation, the scenario, the changing of the guards. They can't handle it. Oh, freaking well. Oh, well. That's on them. That's a them problem. That's not a you problem, collective. To hell with them. Unemployed is here. Okay. The problem is they're so focused on their life instead of fixing their life. And they feel, and that's actually a good comment that you mentioned. So thank you. Let me say your name. Your name, Alicia Lopez states on YouTube. The problem is they so focus on our life, meaning the collective's life, instead of fixing their life. So they think their way of fixing their life is by being someone else. That's their attempt, or that's their way, or that's their perception of things. And the moment that they realize, again, that goes back into ties back in with lies and illusions here, when you shatter it, it's like, oh no, wait, I didn't do that to you. I never said that. They can't handle it. So to be honest, they just, you know what I mean? What Cash App did you pay under yesterday? Because there was one I did not read for yesterday. So if that's you, let me know what name you paid under, and then you can inbox me on Instagram and I'll read you on there if that's you. But yeah, I waited a very long time yesterday. I was like, it's such and such here. So let me know your name, and if it's you, I'll read you on Instagram. Yeah. So burnt out. So they burnt out because they can no longer pretend. Oh well. You're welcome. They're burnt out because they can't take anything from you. They can't be the thief of joy in your life. And they're suffering in silence. Well, why are they suffering in silence? Because they don't want the lies to surface. They don't want the people see them as the liar that they are. Does that make sense? So yeah, they're suffering in silence here, which is what they manifested. You shattered their delusions. That's a big hurt piece of someone's ego. You out here shattering people's illusions and delusions. Yeah, that gonna make somebody flip and trip, if that makes sense. Hidden agenda. If you want a private reading, you'll have to book underneath my website. And let me put my website on, hold on. Let me put it on here. I sure can tell you about your boyfriend, but you're going to have to, that's a private read, okay? Give me a second, y'all. Let me put my information on here. Here it is. Okay, I can't do it. Can somebody put my information down for me? It's kalindi.com/Afrozen on my YouTube, please. I can't do it from my iPad. One of my moderators, please. Yeah, spiritual awakening. A message is coming. The message here is that they're awakening to the truth that they weren't ready to face or discuss. They want to emulate it, but they can't walk in it. How you going to try to copy something that you can't even walk in? That don't make sense. I.e. the reason why they were trying to walk in who you were as you. That won't work. It will never work. Okay, yep, Kim. Yep. All right. So inbox me on Instagram, okay? Instagram, please. So we have a liar and we have Gemini. This is a low vibrational energy I'm speaking about, okay? So it's a liar, a Gemini that's a liar, low vibrational, or it could be a Libra. Take it how it resonates. Okay? They say Gemini has a split personality when it comes to, I wouldn't say split personality, but more so when it comes to thinking or the way that they think. Somebody could be in Aquarius that's popping up, stuck. Yeah, they're stuck. They're stuck in their lies. Leo, how are they going to get out their lies? Tell the truth. I can't tell the truth. Okay, well then stay stuck in the lies. They can't tell the truth because the lie is it's harmful to them. They know this in many different ways and aspects. They know this. Thank you. Yeah, too good to be true. They realize themselves that they're too good to be true. And for you, thank you for actually pointing that out. So Stamp 8802 states on Instagram, a dual outlook. You need to be balanced in all that you do. You need your light and you need your dark side. Yes, you do. You need both sides to see the truth in things. Yes, you do. That's the way the world is made up. That's the DNA. That's how it works. You need both sides to see the truth. It just depends on your level of perception as to how you're able to decipher and to see the truth as such. And they wanted to be on one side and one side only, the spectrum of one side only. And it messed them up. Could be a frenemy, take it how it resonates. It messed them up big time. And this is why they're karmic. Yeah. This is exactly why. Yeah, justice is here for you. For them too, just not in the way that they anticipate. They can't control the outcome because they never had control. Does that make sense? They can't control something they never had control of. How you just gonna come in and try to sweep in and try to control something you have no idea how to maintain, how to handle it, you don't know anything about it. So how you gonna just try to come in and just try to strong arm and try to control it? It doesn't make sense. So they're heartbroken. Okay, well, that's on them. And then dark magic, black magic here, for the ones that resonate, of course. They're using black magic to hide their lies. That's what they're using it for the ones that do it. That's what they're, for the negative side of things, the lower vibrational side of things. I need to make that clear, very clear. They think they think that doing darker energy or darker work here is going to hide it because it's darker. That makes sense. Again, the way they perceive things is very different. Very, very, very different. They hide in the dark. A lie is a dark. A lie is hidden. That makes sense. Break it down. So they feel if they do darker things, it will be hidden, like the darkness, like the shadows, etc., here. And it don't work that way. They don't understand how any of this works. Because here we are. How you gonna be cold-hearted, cold-blooded, and a dunce at the same time? So they're not only cold-hearted, they're cold-blooded, and they don't understand what they're doing. I said Aquarius. I didn't say Aquarius. Oh, man. It's a hiding something. They're hiding from themselves is what they're doing. And they're sabotaging themselves because they keep hiding from their true identity of self. Delusional. There you go. Look how we come back full circle again. No, it has to be that way. No, it doesn't have to be that way. You know, there's many ways that you can actually build a garden. Do you know there's many ways that you can plant seeds into an actual garden? Do you know that? You don't have to start all of your seeds in an actual a plant box. You can start it in a cup. You can start it on a piece of wet paper towel. You can start it in a Ziploc bag. There are many ways to do one thing. There's many ways to do one thing. Their way or the highway. Okay, I don't like your highway, so let me get into my car And let me go hit down this highway here. Yeah, they don't want that. Freak, trust issues, sudden changes. Could be a Leo. Leo. Sagittarius. It's a very spicy combo. Pisces. Love and Light says on TikTok, that's a spicy combo. It sure is. Gemini, thank you for the gift. Capricorn. Taurus. Capricorn. Okay? So if that resonates, please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Don't forget to grab your t-shirt, your file front t-shirt. And then also, thank you so much for your immense support surrounding this book here. It's called Wisdom Beyond Wounds. It was created for individuals like myself and you, that helps you to heal from narcissistic traumatic experiences. Okay, it's basically a shadow work or a shadow book surrounding narcissism. Okay, how to heal from it. So definitely grab this book. It is readily available on Amazon. Thank you so much for your immense support. Love, love, love to you guys, and I will see y'all soon. Thank you. See you TikTok. Love you. Thank you, boo. Bye. Bye Instagram, Facebook. Mwah. See you later. And you too. Yes, thank you so much, Kim. Make sure that you reach out to me on Instagram. I'll be waiting for your response. And then I will talk to the rest of you guys later. See y'all.